Hello friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade Now Hallmark. Today I want to share with you this beautiful snowflake card featuring the Stamped Timber and Waffle Flower exclusive set from Stamped Timber, the Gina Snowflakes. I know that this stamp set is not available anymore due to the fact that it was a special collab for Stamped Timber. However, I wanted to share with you how I created this card. You can use any snowflake sets that you have in your stash and create a similar look. I really wanted to showcase some white, gold, and craft to get the season started. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So today I'm going to be making two cards, and I'm starting out with some pre-cut panels of some Nina Desert Storm cardstock. As you guys know, Nina is one of my favorite cardstocks to work with. I have used it a lot recently, and I've just, kind of in a Desert Storm kick right now. My first two cards for my Christmas series are both on craft cardstock, so hopefully my next ones won't be, but if it is, it's okay because craft looks really, really great for Christmas cards. So I am using the Gina Snowflakes stamp set from Simon Says Stamp and Waffle Flower, and I know that this was an exclusive set and it's no longer available, but you can do the same idea with any snowflake sets that you have on hand. I have done similar cards in the past using different kinds of snowflake stamp sets and different color combinations and things like that. I'll make sure that they're listed in the art card above that you can go over and watch those as well. This is a really nice kind of go-to design if you have snowflake sets because you can really mix and match. You can use snowflakes from lots of different sets. If you have, if you don't have like a full set of snowflakes, you can pull from different stamp companies and kind of, make your own design. Again, this is just meant to be inspiration for you and just to get the ideas going and creative flow moving. And I really wanted to do one on craft, but I wanted to really showcase some white and gold in these cards today. And I was going to do like a glitter embossing, but my glitter embossing powder is white instead of like a clear. So I just decided to go with the white and the gold, and I think it turned out really pretty in the end. And again, you can do this with any stencils. You can do it with stencils and you can do it with any stamp sets. So I'm using some Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder here, and I'm going to be doing two cards. They're going to be stamped exactly the same way, but I am going to kind of alternate the colors, and the finished cards are going to be kind of opposite of each other. And that was just to kind of make them a little bit different, and just to change it up a little bit, just have a little fun with it. I really was just kind of playing around at this point, and I wasn't really sure how they were going to turn out or what the finished cards were going to actually look like. But I knew I wanted to create something similar to what I had done in the past with other stamp sets. And I'm just going to continue going through and stamping these down. I am going to speed this process up quite a bit because it is very repetitive, and I'm just doing the same thing on both panels. Going through, stamping it down using some Versamark ink, adding the embossing powder, and heating it up. I'm also using Simon Says Stamp Antique Gold Embossing Powder, one of my favorites for the holidays because it's such a nice, just kind of muted gold, very, again, like the name, antique. And I think it goes well with anything. And the nice thing about doing this is that your heat gun stays warm all the time, so it doesn't take as long to do the embossing. And I'm really excited for the Christmas cards this year. I know I've been kind of distant recently. I've had a lot of things going on, and with my wrist, it's been kind of difficult for me to do any crafting. So getting back into it and getting back into the swing of things with holiday cards really makes me feel better, and I'm really excited to get started on it. I've got lots of new things coming, new products from new companies that I've never worked with before, so I'm really excited for that, and it's just going to be a really fun season. Going through and adding some more snowflakes, and I'm overlapping some in certain places, and kind of, I don't want to fill the entire card with snowflakes like I have done in the past. I wanted to do just kind of a few. So in my mind, I kind of see it as like they're drifting down, and the big one is just closer to you than the others. It's just kind of how I played it out in my head and how I'm visualizing it. And then I had a little helper come in, and he loved all the snowflakes. He thought they were very pretty. He loves it whenever I create Christmas cards. Once I'm all done and they're all dry and I've already got pictures taken, I take them out to him and I show them to him, and he holds them and he says they're pretty and he talks about them. So he is my first and foremost guy who checks out all the cards and lets me know if he thinks they're pretty or not. So for this gold one, I'm going to alternate and I'm going to do these snowflakes stamped in white. So it's kind of my process. I'm kind of alternating back and forth between the two cards just to make them a little bit different from each other. They're both designed and styled the same way, but they are, I guess I want to say they're kind of like mirror images of each other. And that's kind of like what I wanted to go for. I didn't want to make two completely identical cards because I think that would be fun to have some that are a little bit different. And once I was all done with the white embossing powder, I wanted to do clear embossing powder to kind of get like a tone-on-tone look and make it look like they're a little bit further in the distance. Again, in my head, I'm thinking of these are just falling from the sky and they're at different distances from you. So, again, that's just kind of my mindset. And I'm using my Misty grip mats to kind of help me make sure everything's in the right place for both stamps. So whenever I'm working with one, because I'm doing the exact same stamping, that way I don't have to kind of like try to line up where the other one goes. They're both in the same exact spot. And I just love the way that these turned out. I feel like they're very elegant and, excuse me, very fun. And I'm just super excited for this season. I know I've said that already, but I'm really looking forward to working with products and companies that I don't normally work with. I am going to still work with my favorites, but I'm really trying to branch out and venture into some companies that I recently have discovered or haven't really thought of, I guess. A lot of them are brand new to me, like I just discovered them, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I just love the way that these look on the craft, and these cards could definitely be done at this point. If you are happy with them and you're not really into adding anything, any ink blending, you could definitely just, or if you're in a hurry and you need to just pump out a bunch of cards, slap on a sentiment, put it on a card base, and these cards would be beautiful just like this. However, I like to be extra and add a little bit of something to these cards because I just love to, and it's the holidays and you can get away with it and just make them look super pretty. So once I get this last panel all melted, I'm going to get my area cleaned up and I'm going to pull out the MFT Christmas text background. Now I do believe that this background is no longer available, but you could use any text background stamp that you have. Anything that's got some sort of holiday text on it, or it doesn't even have to be holiday text. I think the romantic script text would look pretty with this as well. I was going to use that one, but I decided not to. And here, I probably could have used my grip mats again, but I just decided to mark my sheet and do it that way. I'm going to go in with some antique linen distress oxide ink to stamp these. And the reason I wanted to use this instead of a dye ink is because I wanted to wipe the ink away from the embossing so that it didn't have any text over top of my snowflakes. So I'm taking a nice dry cloth and I'm going over top of those snowflakes to get all of the ink off. This is like an ink resist technique. And again, I wanted it to look like the text was behind the snowflakes. Now, you could have stamped it ahead of time and then gone through and did the snowflakes. But I wanted all of the snowflakes, including the clear embossed ones, to appear on top of the text. I know that sounds kind of weird. You could do it either way, but in my mind, I wanted it to look like it was behind everything. Once that's all finished, I'm going to get this put away and cleaned up, and I'm going to leave my Misty out. I'm going to get out some Simon Says Stamp vellum, and I'm going to stamp the main greeting onto the vellum. I'm going to be using the large Merry and Bright greeting from the set. This was like the main reason that I got this stamp set. It was because of this Merry and Bright, because I think it is so cute, and I did get the die set. And I just love it. I think it's super cute, fun, and whimsical, and will go really well with lots of cards. And I'm going to stamp the this greeting onto the vellum, and I'm going to heat emboss it with white and gold. I'm going to do both. So I'm going to stamp this one down first, and then I'm going to flip it around after I cover it with the white embossing powder and stamp it again and do the gold embossing powder. Now, when you're heating up vellum, you want to make sure that your heat gun is super duper hot and ready to go, because if you don't, it will burn your vellum. Trust me, you will get burn marks in it and you'll ruin it and you'll have to do it again. So just make sure your heat gun is nice and hot, and I always like to heat up the back first, and then I go in and I heat it up a little bit, move it away, heat it up a little bit, move it away, so I don't burn the vellum at all. And then you get a really pretty, nice, bright sentiment. Gonna get that embossing powder put away, flip my vellum around, and do the gold now. Same process, anti-static powder, Versamark ink, and some Simon Says Stamp antique gold embossing powder. And once I had those all heated up, I'm going to use the coordinating dies that come with the set, and I'm going to cut it out with those. And I'm also going to cut another layer of vellum because I'm going to adhere those together to add a little bit more thickness and some more opacity to it, so that I can add some foam tape behind it later and you won't see it. There we go. So pretty. I love it so much. I love gold on vellum. I just think it's so pretty. One of my favorites. Gonna go ahead and get that put away before I tip it over, get my stamp put back, and we can work on the next part of the card. Next, I'm going to go in and add some ink blending. I've got my Waffle flower stencil mat here, and I'm going to go in with some antique linen distress oxide ink and just go around the edges here with that. And then I'm also going to go around the edges with some ground espresso as well, just to deepen it, add some more depth and dimension. And because of the embossing and because I'm using distress inks, I can wipe away any of that leftover ink over top of my snowflakes that kind of turn on like a brown color, because I don't want brown snowflakes. I want them to be nice and bright with gold and white. And again, it's just going to really add to the depth and dimension of the cards. One of my favorite things to do, as you guys know, I do this a lot. I know it's probably pretty boring, but you know, if you've got something that works for you, stick with it. And you love the results, just go for it. You know, if you're comfortable with it, you know, you can kind of change it up a little bit, do different types of techniques with it. But if it's something that you really enjoy, just stick with it. Do whatever makes you happy. So this makes me happy, so I'm going to continue to keep doing it. So I'm going to go around here and do the same with the ground espresso. Once I have that all done, I'm going to go ahead with my dry cloth and wipe away any of that excess embossing, or excuse me, distressing ink. There we go. Super pretty. I love how much dimension that gives to these panels. Love them so much. Now, because I am super extra, I'm going to clean up my mat here, and I am going to take out some of my new favorite Tim Holtz Distress Mica Spray Stains. I am going to stamp, I am going to spritz these with some Decayed Mica Stain. This is one of my, I love it so much. I can't even talk about how much I love it because it is such a really pretty color. I know Decayed doesn't sound very Christmas, doesn't sound very holiday, but this has got a really pretty like goldish tone to it, and it's just so pretty. And I got a really big glob on the very front of this one. I was really kind of upset about it. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And I thought, you know what? Just let it go. It's a card. It's handmade. It'll dry. I was trying to dab up a little bit, but you know what? I thought, just leave it. I'm going to work with it. I'm going to roll with it. It'll dry back. It'll be super pretty. So I'm going to set those off to the side to dry completely before I mess with them anymore. And I'm going to take out my Simon Says Stamp glue stick, and I am going to layer up my greeting with an extra piece of vellum. This is another favorite technique. I have shown this in several videos. If you have like a Xyron sticker maker, it's the same kind of concept. You're putting adhesive all over your vellum so you don't see any glue, and it adheres it nice and flat. Again, this is just adding some extra depth to these so that I can add some adhesive behind it later and you won't see it, some foam adhesive. Adding that on there. It is a little bit kind of tricky to work with, but I've been doing it so much that I kind of get it down pat. And I'm going to press those between some acrylic blocks until they are completely dry, and I'm going to work on my card bases. So I'm going to be using Simon Says 120-pound cardstock for my bases today, and I'm going to score them at 5.5 to create top folding A2 size card bases. This is my preferred way to make card bases. I really like top folding ones compared to side folding. Again, it's just a personal preference. I feel like I can display them a little bit better. Now, in some cases, I will do a side fold, but majority they're top folding. And again, it's just a personal preference. You can do them however you like. You could definitely do this card as a landscape card. I think it would be very pretty as well. But again, do it however you like. Do whatever makes you happy. Next, I'm going to take that large snowflake from the stamp set. I'm going to place it right in the middle of my card base, and I'm going to stamp it down using some Simon Says Stamp Fog ink. If you guys have been with me for a while, you guys know this is one of my favorite ways to add something on the inside of a card, something subtle that matches the outside and is soft enough that you can still write a greeting or a message over top. I am going to stamp the Merry Christmas greeting from the same stamp set right in the middle of the snowflakes here, but there's still plenty of room to write a greeting. I was going to initially do it in red, but I was like, there's no other red anywhere on my card. Now, I could have stamped it in brown, which would have been fine as well, or if I had like a Delicata like gold ink, which I know is out there, I have thought about it, it would have been perfect for this card. But I didn't have it, but it's okay. And so I just decided to stamp it down using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I'm really glad that I did, because the red wouldn't have gone well with this at all. It would have really kind of clashed with it. So doing the black, I think, worked out just fine. Looks really pretty on the inside. Much happier with that. And then now that we have all of the pieces and parts of our cards, we can get to assembly. So I really like doing that with making multiple cards, is I'll do all of one step all the way through, have all of the parts and pieces together, and then I can just start assembling. Going to be using some of my Barely Arts adhesive liquid glue to attach these. You could pop them up with some foam tape, just because there is a lot of warping that has happened with all of the embossing and things, but they worked out fine. They're pretty flat and they all adhered down really nice. That's why I put a little bit of extra glue on it, and then I just set it underneath my MISTI just to help weigh it down until the glue dried. I always like to put extra glue in the corners, just because that's where everything has a tendency to pop up, is in the corners. It looks like I'm adding like a massive amount of glue, but this detail tip that's on this glue bottle doesn't let a ton come out. It lets out just enough, so I'm not worried about using excess glue. Get that all lined up there, and I'm just going to kind of set that underneath my MISTI and make sure that they're nice and flat. Again, I think these are so pretty, and I struggled a little bit deciding exactly where I wanted to put the greetings, because I didn't want to cover up the big snowflake just because it's such a prominent part of the card, but I didn't want to have my greeting right in the center of the card either. I like kind of doing them in kind of like odd locations, especially with like whimsical cards like this, something that's a little bit more free flowy and fun. And I'm also going to be attaching these greetings with some of the scrapbook adhesives, small square foam tape. And I really like this because there is so much going on in the backgrounds that even if you could see the foam tape behind it, it's really not that noticeable because there is a lot of things going on in the background. It kind of hides it a little bit. Another reason I like doing busy backgrounds, because it hides stuff. And I was so in love with these. They were so pretty, and it really got me in the festive mood and really got my creative mind going, and just all the different fun things I wanted to do this season. it's going to be so much fun. And they've come out with so many cute things, and I can't wait to really get going and seeing what other companies are going to be coming out with. There are so many fun things that I didn't know came out. Some of the things that I'm going to be using are a little bit older. They're not brand new. They're brand new to me. So to me, they're new. So really be on the lookout for that, because I'm super excited about it, and I really hope you guys are as well. I really love supporting the companies and everybody in the crafting community because you guys get me. I don't have anybody else to talk to. I live in a house full of boys, so girly, crafty things are just not for them. So you guys are my go-to, my community, and I love sharing what I do with you guys because it is so much fun. Lastly, I'm going to go in with some Nouveau Crystal drops in Simply White, and I'm just going to add a few drops around the outside of my snowflakes just to add some dimension. Now they are going to turn brown because I used Distress Oxide inks, but that's okay. I love it anyway. And that will finish up these 2 cards for today. I really want to thank you guys for stopping by and watching my video. If you did enjoy it, please consider hitting that like button. It lets YouTube know that you are enjoying all of the content that I share with you here on YouTube. And if you don't want to miss out on any more videos during my Christmas series, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a video. I really want to thank you again for stopping by to watch me create this beautiful card featuring Simon Says Stamp and Waffle Flower products. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you again real soon. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.